everyone, welcome back to our channel StartupLanes.com. I'm Namrata and I'm conducting a series of interviews with the CEOs and founders of several innovative startups in India. Today, I'll be talking with Mr. Anustup Mukherjee, the founder and CEO of MBK Healthtech. Anustup is a budding AI developer, an international delegate at Harvard University, and a team member of Google Tensorflow. MBK Healthtech, the brainchild of Anustup, aims to create AI-based remote cardiac monitors that will become one-stop solution for cardiac patients. You want to know more about his business? Let's get into the interview.
Hello, good evening. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Anustup Mukherjee, right now founder and CEO of MBK Healthtech Private Limited. I have a strong 2 years of work experience in the field of artificial intelligence. I have worked with more than 6+ companies, presently working with Google Tensorflow Team and also supporting a Silicon Valley-based startup Dark Horse in the field of the sports operating system. Also, I interned at IIT Patna and researched with Makerology Labs of IIT Bombay. And I also hold some kind of papers, research papers, and several types of publications on the field of the AI/ML. Also have spoken over more than 20+ of national and international conferences, including Harvard X, MIT TechX, and many others, and trained more than 2K+ students on the field of AI/ML over a year.
Okay, that's great. So, tell me something about your startup.
So MBK Healthtech is right now a DPIIT recognized Indian startup, fully supported by the Supreme Incubators from the backend. Right now, what we are creating is the world's first AI-based remote cardiac monitor system, and with a complete SaaS to support it. So our product is specially designed for the people who are suffering from cognitive impairment, also having some sort of the disabilities, and actually to support the people who are having the unprecedented or uncared cardiac arrest or the cardiac blockages, something like that. So we are simply creating a remote cardiac wearable anyone can place in their chest. Simply we will be extracting the ECG, heart sounds, and other cardiac metrics. We will be reflecting the things over our SaaS, connect the people with the doctor, giving a complete remote monitoring with the ultimate disease prediction as well as a detection, and also fully support from the nurse by the auto alarming mechanism, so that anyone can come into the scenario whenever there is a sudden cardiac arrest condition can take place. So this is a small brief about our company. Right now we developed our product, the very first version of the product, and we are jumping into the market by the very next month.
Okay, my next question will be, how did you come up with this idea of your startup?
Lastly, in the year of 2019, I was working with some kind of the hackathons and mentoring with the hackathons. And also my mother is a psychologist, so I have a background of the mental health people from my side. So on that case, I have viewed my mother simply screening the patients, getting the case histories and diagnosing the things. I came up with an idea, why should not I use the power of artificial intelligence to detect the people who is actually having severe or acute depression or might be a chance of getting indulged into depression. So I launched my first startup in 2019, where I was creating an AI-based mechanism, AI-based software, better to tell, that was detecting that kind of mental health disorder. I developed the product. I and my team developed the product. We launched the product in the market. We got some validations from several kind of homes, cognitive impairment people, apart from the doctor. So on doing some kind of research on that time, we came across the major problem is still not the mental health, because in India, we are again far away from the mental health, because no one cares at a very first moment. Everyone cares about the physical health. And a major physical health that is being present is either diabetes or I'm having a sudden cardiac arrest. I don't know what to do, where to go. And so I picked up this idea. I started researching on the topics, whatever available resources being present. I came up, there are remote cardiac wearables or remote cardiac pacemakers being present at US or American companies. But yeah, it is extremely of higher cost, like 50,000 rupees, 60,000 rupees. So a general Indian family cannot afford it. So I started scaling up an idea, using the things, using the available resources, talked with the doctors, talked with possible mentors, and just summed up the things and came up to this idea to create this kind of thing at a minimum cost with a maximum functionality.
Okay, that's great. So, what was the most difficult part in your early stage of the like putting up the startup together?
So whatever the main problem of myself, what I have faced when I was just starting this startup is like everyone does a startup, or everyone right now in India speaks about a startup. But what is the main problem? It's not about the funding. It's not about, like I faced, it's not about the gathering people in my group, because I have already owned a lot of connections on that. It's not about connecting to the potential mentors. It's all about to understand the market. Who will be your potential customers? Whom I am going to sell my product? What are my next upcoming 4 months or 6 months plans, so that my company is not going to get in a crash or not going to get a sales loss? What's the particular bunch of the market or the type of customers I will be targeting? So it's all about the market, because again, market doesn't care what we are building or what background we are coming from. So the main problem that I faced, or I spent a lot of time in researching, in understanding the sales procedures, coming from an engineering background, understanding the commercial issues, is like, what is my market, who are my customers, and why people will love me, why people will leave a $1,000 product or will come to me and simply believe on me what I am creating. Bringing the people in a single vision and believing the people in my company is most difficult job for me at an initial stage.
Okay, so now that you are talking about the market, so how could you identify that there was an existing gap in the market that you needed to fill?
So it's again like when I just started with the researching, I did a off-market research actually. Generally, we speak about the research like going to Google Scholar, studying a lot of research papers, or going through a lot of case studies. This is the general way. I just get in an offbeat process. I developed the first prototype, went to the customers directly, went to people, organized expos, organized online YouTube stations or online webinars, and directly contacted with the doctor. It was not that kind of sales where I am going to charge any type of the money to the people. I am simply asking the people, this is the product, this is a very basic version of the product, and these are the upcoming versions. Will you buy it? And if you buy it, or if you are going to have me in your upcoming days, why you are going to buy it? So on that, by asking this kind of questions, I identified the first problem that the Indian families or Indian market face is the cost. No one is going to spend a lot of money, because in the present day scenario, as we have seen in the post-COVID situation, anyone can buy a weight machine, a BP machine, an invasive simple oximeter, and an invasive blood sugar machine in the home with a single package of the thermometer, which a person can arrange at a cost of 5,000 rupees only. So anyone is not going to tell like, okay, I am going to buy a 10,000 product, a 10,000 rupees a product. I can rather give 2,000 rupees consultancy cost to a doctor. I will visit to that. So one problem I felt is the gap in the market is all about the costing. And the second is Indians don't believe. Indians don't believe on the new brand. They buy it, but we don't believe directly, because we already have a question mark in our mind. Okay, this is a new product. This is a fresh brand. They are trying to do something, but I am not going to rely on it completely. So I picked up these two problems. If I can make it portable, if I can make it cost effective, and if I can keep a multiple features within a single product. Because all we want is going to a single shop and we will buy everything. So I did the same thing, keeping multi-feature cardiac products. So a single product on which you can get cardiac statistics, doctors, nurse, automatic alarms, even blood sugar idea, even volumetric analysis, even monitoring of the patient, both for home ICU setups or the hospital ICU setups, a single product within a very small range of the cost of 5,000 rupees. So I targeted this gap of the market and just built it up.
Okay, so now the healthcare industry is a big domain, and to have a startup, one needs to have some kind of a business model that defines it, like makes it unique from the other products. So what do you think your business model, what makes your business model stand out?
So again, in the case of our business models, we didn't directly targeted only to the businesses or not only to the customers. We rather made it a hybrid type of thing, both for the business to business as well as the business to customers. But the way of the services we provide is completely like a little bit different from each other. So it is something like that whenever we are providing it to the business to businesses, just for an example, to the hospitals, to the clinics, to the doctors, we are telling them, if you are having a patient whom you cannot see in front of your eyes because of this prevailing COVID conditions or prevailing any type of conditions, just give our product to them and keep a certain amount of the profit share. The profit which is coming, just keep a certain amount of the share in your hand and just sell it. So it is for our B2B approach. And when we speak about our B2C, it's directly giving our product to the Amazon, Flipkart and the other available platforms. But on that particular case, we always provide some kind of the medical consultancies. Medical consultancy means whatever SaaS we are developing, there is a section that anyone can put a one-tap search that who are my most available doctors in my locality. So a unique user ID will be generated, who the person will having the MBK wearable. A unique user ID will be generated and only shared to the doctor. So the doctor will be sitting at his home, and with a minimum amount of the consultancy fee, they can be easily locating or seeing what is happening with my patient or what is happening to my anything that I am remotely monitoring. So that is for the B2C case. So in the B2C, it's a benefit to the users because not only the statistics or not only the health ideology, they can get nurses, verified nurses, they can get the doctors. And a main important thing is the doctors will be getting an automated alarm. Just for an example, in most of the times we are having a cardiac arrest, or most of the time we can't able to identify because a cardiac arrest never comes without a signal. It always gives the signal with a hand pain or several right chest pain or something like that. So our AI models will be directly detecting it a few times back before the arrest. And automatically alarms will be generated to the local hospitals, ambulances and the nurse. So the setup is already prepared for a customer in our B2C end. So in that way, we are generating the sales.
Okay, sounds really interesting. So while developing the product, so did your friends or your family invest in the startup, or could you find investors?
Yeah. So again, when we speak about the investment, in my case, I pitched over 25 plus ventures. But it is already a seed stage. So when it was in a seed stage, I didn't have a product, I didn't have a validation. No one is going to believe me. No one is going to believe me in my vision because, okay, your idea sounds good, but yeah, you have to prove it is working. You have to prove people is like. So one of the investors, like I have seen over many YouTube sessions of other investors, especially I want to mention about the Kolkata Ventures. So I came across an idea. If you want to convince an investor, then you have to come with a single sentence. I have no money, but I am making money with no money. That's your strategy. If an investor feels you are making money with no money, then obviously he will tell, okay, you can make money with money. So I followed the strategies to start up my business. I used to work with the other companies, like I am an engineer by day and entrepreneur by night on that time. So like I used to work for that companies. I have a handsome salary in my hand at the end of the month. I save half of it and I push the half of it to my business. And apart from this, yes, the parental help and my co-founders helped with me with some kind of funds, whatever we can manage. But our prime strategy, what we show always to the people, that we made money with no money. That's it.
Great. So in the coming years, as we are going through the pandemic, it's a tough time, and in hoping that the conditions will become better in the coming years. So how do you think, what do you think the factors will be most crucial in your business?
The factors mainly, since it is we are going through a prevailing COVID pandemic situations, so like every point in a human health time is right now sensitive, because what's happening in the new strains or in the upcoming strains or third or fourth wave of the COVID, what is most predicted is you will not get a signal of even a fever in the COVID, automatically your SpO2 rate will fall. This is the most seen situation right now in India and abroad as well. So we are targeting these points actually of the industry, these loopholes of the industry. We are designing the product especially for the pregnant mothers. So what happens right now, we are went to a case study. In the pregnant mothers can't able to visit to a regular weekly visit to a doctor because already the mother is on that time is sensitive. So might be the person will be going into some kind of the COVID or other kind of the bacterial inflammations and that kind of thing. So we are designing the wearable so that any pregnant mother can place the wearable on her womb and it will automatically fetch the information whether the fetus is alive or not. So that's the thing the mother wants to know at an initial stage. So that is we are going to give very soon to the market. Apart from this, we are actually training our models in a large amount of the validation data. So hopefully our AI models will pick up the sensitive information, a sudden change in an SpO2 or a sudden change in the cardiac metrics will also be reflected on both the user and the doctor end. And apart from this, we are morely refining our product for the disabled, because that's another big problem that is coming forth in the particular upcoming days, for the disabled people, for those who can speak, for those who are not mentally stable, for those who cannot walk. So on that particular cases, they can't able to express their emotions in a real time. And right now we are undergoing a situation of shortage of medical infrastructure. So a single cheapest product, it should be given to their hand. Simple, place it on your chest and everything will be remotely monitored. That's it. And apart from this, we are also targeting rural India under the campaigns of DPIIT or local for vocal campaign or that kind of things campaigns. So we are also targeting rural India to give a lump sum amount of the product to them and they can be used on their aspect. So these are the prime points that we are right now target to simple grow our market in the upcoming days.
Okay. So now, since your company is young and so are you, so do you would you want to hire fresh people to your company? Is there a hiring scope in your company? And if yes, then what are the qualities you think is required to be in your company?
Yeah. So since right now, we all are young, because we all are the growing as well as in the growing stage as well. MBK is growing. Right now, we also hire the young people. We always believe in the young, fresh talents. The reason is, when I started my journey 2 years back, not as an entrepreneur, as an engineer, I was also young, simple, coming from a small technical background. Even I come from a PCMB, then jumped into engineering and then summed up the concepts and then launched and simply went to a company. They hired me. Whatever outputs I given them, whatever innovations was I given them was fresh, and the company loved it. So I believe in this ideology. Those the people who are young, they might not be knowing the deep technical stuff, but we can teach them the technical stuff, and since they are young, they can adopt the things easily. But what the benefit we will be having from them is, that their innovations, since they are the fresh minds, they doesn't have seen the industrial complexities. They doesn't get biased in their thoughts by that kind of complexity. So we always hire the young talent. There are people from third year, second year, even the first year students from the college, so that they can work with us. Already we have 10 to 15 employees from that data. They are working with us and they are developing this great product. And also in the upcoming days, we will be hiring more and more people on the development as well as the designing role.
Okay, since you are heading your company, so what do you think, what are the qualities required to display great leadership while running a company or having a startup?
So again, the leader can be anyone, because we always term to be a great leadership, bad leadership is nothing else. To me, the leadership is leadership. So to me, the great leadership quality to run a company or to run any organization, whether it is an NGO or anything, is firstly to adopt whatever the scenario is going on around me. If I am simply sticked at some point because I am the boss and I am simply sticking at some point, I am not going to listen to anyone, then that's the ultimate ruined scenario. So I believe in adapting the people, adapting the strategies from the other people, how I can utilize that good thing into my company. Secondly, the leader should motivate everyone. If the leader gets demotivated, then the entire company's model will be completely tethered. I have seen this on my previous startup. So again, a leader should be impressive. A leader should be someone who having a towering personality, and is always should be speaking not I. We are a family. We are together, coming up with this same vision and empowering others, supporting others in the hard times, because whenever we can't develop a product, we get drowned into a lot of depression things. And the best thing that I feel of being a leader, I don't know if I'm a leader or not, but I feel to be a better leadership quality is something like, if there is a success, give the success to the team. If there is a failure, take it on it. That's the best thing of a great leadership. That's it.
Okay, so continuing this leadership question, so you can be called the CEO of your company. So what are the good parts and what are the bad parts of being called a CEO or the role?
Being a founder and CEO, the term CEO is again a most desired term for every people, because we see on just simple search word of Google, Coca-Cola, Twitter, CEO is the highest paid job. Everyone even asks why the CEOs are such highest paid. They are not doing any kind of technical stuff. They are not generating any kind of sales. But one difficult part being I feel to be a CEO is your one yes and one no. It determines the future of your company. If your yes is going right, then your company will be in success. And if your yes is going wrong, then you are teetering the life of your thousands of employees, of your entire vision. So this is the most difficult or frustrating part of being a CEO. When I have to undergo a lot of personal thinking, I have to leave a lot of my personal work and have to think on a particular single decision. Our board will be speaking everything, our employees will be speaking, but the last yes or no will be spoken by me. So being a CEO, this is the most difficult thing that I feel, because the entire responsibility is on my shoulders. And the best part of the CEO is obviously you have a full hand on your company. You can do whatever innovations you love, you can talk or you can hire the people, you can do whatever kind of things I can add in my company. I can simply impress my vision into that. So I can see my vision working into the market. So this is from a satisfaction point of view, this is really nice. But again, from the frustration point of view, entire thing is dependent on my shoulders.
Yeah, so since we can all agree upon the fact that the times are really tough, the COVID situation being on the rise and all. So what are the bad decisions like you had to take during this time, for example, regarding budget cuts, organizational restructures and market withdrawals?
Yeah. So we are going through this kind of COVID pandemic again. So one of the most toughest decision that I'm right now also taking is all about the sales, because we all know the offline sales is the best thing. Because going to an expo, showing the product to the customers directly and convincing the vision is the best thing that we cannot do by generating Facebook ads or by Instagram ads. The reason is because if I am just simply summing up thousands and thousands of Facebook ads in someone's profile, then the people will block me directly. They are not going to see my ads. So this is the worst part of the online sales that I personally feel. Yeah, it's beneficial, but again, it's a problem. So I have to take some tough decisions while generating the sales. Sometimes I have to risk my life also to visit to a doctor, visit to a hospital, giving a case study on a real-time scenario. Even I did on a last year when the COVID was at a peak during the time of the October and November. I have to change my cities due to this kind of sales work, again from Kolkata to Chandigarh, Delhi, and this kind of things I have to do. So this is the most toughest decision that I have to always take, is all about the sales. Budget cut is again dependent on the sales and dependent on whatever we are creating. So it's dynamic. It is actually not a COVID problem. It's a problem of all over the time, all over the scenario. We have to do sometimes a budget cut. But the most important problem is the sales, and the third most important is the hiring of the talent. Because what happened right now in the time of the COVID, every one of us try to be productive. It's really nice to see the productivity on the people, that what our country lacked for the last some years. But what is the worst part of the being productive into the mark of the crores is there are many people who don't want to be really productive, but they are showing themselves as a productive. But whenever we see the outlook of the people and we hire the stuff, and then we feel, okay, this is going to be a lost thing. So that kind of simply justification is being a very big problem for the company.
Okay. So now as the business grows, the internal processes become complex. So are you looking for any vendor to simplify any part of your business?
Yeah, right now actually we are tying up the hospitals as a vendor and the clinics as a vendor. We are also looking and also tying up at the same point, because why we need this kind of the hospitals and the clinics is again for the B2B approaches. If we set up our wearable and the SaaS or at least the basic wearable based hospital ICU at any one of the hospitals, so that our sales will be simply eased up. Simply that's it. Because in the COVID-19 time, we don't have to mug up into the people, run in the mass. We can simply set up the things in the particular hospital setup and we can do that. So right now we are looking for the hospitals and the clinics as a vendor.
Okay. So what are the recent short-term and long-term goals you have planned for yourself?
So right now, as a short-term goals, what we are doing is actually we are developing the very next version of the product. We are completing the SaaS and we are completing the final touches of that particular remote cardiac wearable. we are at this initial moment, we are targeting X amount of the users. That means we should have a good amount of the users by the upcoming next year. Setting up our own manufacturing farm. Right now, we are actually doing the thing with a third-party manufacturer. So setting up our own manufacturing farm, and at least by the end of the next year, we should reach at least by the end of the Series A and to gather at least 3 to 4% of the Indian market on the particular of our remote cardiac wearable. And also in the upcoming days when we will be finally FDA certified, because we still not own the FDA certification. So FDA certified, then after that we can simply scale up the product to the global market, because as per we research, as per we talk, this kind of product is most demanding in the global people. So global market, we are aiming in a long-term goal to hold 2 to 3% of all over the global market in our hands by your innovation.
Okay. So lastly, what would you like to share to our viewers?
We would like to share, that means anyone can do a startup. If you are planning to do a startup, or if you are at that, sometimes we don't feel that I need to do a startup because I'm not confident to starting it up, because it's itself a very big term. So if you are that kind of people who want to work outside the box, want to simply show the people what is your vision, what is your ideology, then you should start up. For starting up, you don't need money, because many of the people says you need a X amount of the money, that amount of money, that amount of money for starting up. You don't need money, you don't need strength, you don't need anything. Only what you need is courage and believe in yourself. If you have a courage and believe in yourself, and if you have an idea, just push it up and you will be automatically seeing the steps. Everything is available over internet, free as well as the paid. Everything is available over there. We can utilize the resources that is being available in our hands. We can simply utilize it and we can develop that product vision. If we can create our own product in India, then that's a very big deal in itself, because many people who want to start up, you all get stuffed up, like where should I get sales, where should I get funding. Everything is there. There are enough mentorship programs, enough incubation programs that will be helping the people full supported. What you need to have is a courage. And if you can start up, then really this is the point whatever India is really right now lacking. We all speak about made in India, we all speak about that kind of thing. Most of the times when I have worked with several types of the college students or trained that students, college students mainly focus in doing or landing into a job, that's it, and are having a secure side. If you can do a startup at your college, even first year, I launched my first startup at my first year. If you can do it in your first year, don't worry about sales, don't worry about anything. Have a courage, believe on yourself, and if you can do it, India will be the leader in the upcoming 5 years. That's all about in our hands of the entrepreneur.
Sounds great. That concludes our session today. It was great talking to you. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.